G'day, this is Ryan from Airbourne, and you're rocking out to BackstageAxxess, where the real show begins. Keep rocking.
Hey, this is Chris with BackstageAxxess, and we are pumped to bring you a rock and roller from down under because we have Ryan O'Keefe of Airbourne here with us today. Welcome to BackstageAxxess, Ryan. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. We do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Great. So Airbourne has a new record about to be released. So let's talk about that first. Breaking Out of Hell is the name of it. How would you describe the new album?
I guess it's high energy, raw, but it's definitely probably the best work we've ever done, I believe. Even the title track itself is a good indication about what's to come. It's fast, it's heavy, it's got some dark elements to it, and sort of the whole record's a bit about that, but it's a perfect album to put on if you want to break out of hell or have a party or, let loose. And have a good time.
Awesome. Now, what is the writing process like for the band? Is it a team effort, or how do you guys go about that?
Well, we pretty much gather either riffs and lyrics on the road, and when we finally get back home or finally stop for a short time, we'll start putting it all together, and you start, some lyrics will attach themselves to some riffs and whatnot, or a riff will demand a different kind of lyric, and then you just get writing and get working. So my brother and I tend to start to put all that together, and then we get the other guys in and start making song beds. But, with this record, we still writ about 2 or 3 songs in the studio, and right up until the singing at the microphone, you're still improving the lyrics as much as you can.
Right. Now, this time you worked with producer Bob Marlette and engineer Mike Frazier again. So what did they do to kind of help the band achieve the sound you were looking for on this album?
Well, Bob, basically, we'd worked with him 10 years ago on Running Wild, and we were always wanting to work with him again, and so fortunately this time around we got the chance to, and he basically walked in the room when we first saw him, and within, it was a couple of hugs. He was like, my little children have grown up, and then bang, we were just working on the first song, and we had an absolute ball doing that, and then to have, he was really thankful that we got Mike to engineer, because the last album that Bob had an engineer work beside of him was actually on Running Wild. Since that album, Bob has engineered everything himself. So he actually thanked us to allow him to just sit back and produce and be a producer. And that's what we did. So we flew them out to Australia, and then when we got working on it, we basically, in 2 months, we were all just having fun in the studio and got it done.
Now, you mentioned flying them out to Australia, so you recorded and mixed this one in your home country this time. And what was that experience like, and how did it differ from the recording of the prior albums?
Well, I guess it was just something that we've probably always wanted to do. The last 3 records we did in the US, and it's been great, but it's one of those things that you always want to maybe do a piece of work in your own home country, and so to be able to do that was amazing, because we're fortunate enough to find a studio Sing Sing, which unfortunately by the end of the year will not be there, but it's a heavy duty studio with all the analog tape machines we needed, and different rooms. Actually, we had a need room to track the album in, and then Mike went next door into the SSL room and mixed it. So it was all just sort of this whole all-in-one kind of thing, and even those guys said it was what a great experience it was. Mike had never been to Australia, and Bob had only ever been there once when we did some demos way back 10 years ago for a couple of days. So to be there for 2 months, just working away, chilling out, and going to the pub at night and talking about the songs was great.
Awesome. Now, this album is the first that you guys have put out with Spinefarm, and what has the experience been like working with the new label so far?
Well, they've been really great. They've once again, it was their sort of initiative to allow this to happen with going to Australia and having the other guys come out. So already they came in with the mentality of, they didn't necessarily sign us an A&R guy to keep watch on us. They've just, day one, have listened to our vision and what we want, which has been really great. They've, we recently just shot the film clip for Rivalry in Belfast, and it will be one of the brutal. It's probably going to be the most brutal film clip we've ever done with some of these scenes in it. It's definitely not, it's definitely not going to be suitable for TV. But it's and stuff like that, because we were like, we would say things like, for these cut scenes that we'll be doing, we want to make Fight Club look like Disney on Ice. And stuff like that. And they've listened to it, and they've fully listened to it, and have gone away and delivered things that it's been really great. So it's been really fresh and exciting, and we just can't wait to keep working with them and keep getting these kind of results.
Great. Now, I wanted to ask about the closing track on the album, It's All for Rock and Roll, because I did read that it was inspired by Lemmy, and I know you guys have toured with Motorhead in the past. Can you tell us a little bit about how that song came together and where you got your inspiration from?
Yeah, so that song was about, it was the last one that was written on the record. The song bed itself had been around even in the demos, but the lyrics in it just didn't mean enough, or they just didn't hold their own weight. The song almost didn't make the record until Joel came up with the title, It's All for Rock and Roll. And then we were in the apartment talking about, we'll need some verses for this. And I remember it just clicked to me, and I said, Joel, I know exactly what we're going to write this song about. It's Lemmy. And he, he was just like, the lyrics just came straight away within like minutes. It wrote itself. It was almost like we needed to write that song, and it was the last one that was written and the last one that was sung and recorded.
Now, being that you have toured with Motorhead over the years, do you have a favorite memory or story about Lemmy, maybe on one of the tours?
We'd always pop his head in and check on us and stuff when we were touring, and he'd always give advice, never change. Labels will come and go, and never listen to anybody. Just always listen to yourselves and stay true to your sounds. And but I guess way back when we recorded the film clip Runnin' Wild, when he drove the truck in it, and hanging out in a limo with him, drinking Jack and listening to ZZ Top, and him just telling stories of awkward days and stuff like that was just insanely amazing, and you never forget that.
Right, awesome. Now, what are the tour plans coming out with this record?
Well, we sort of just kicked off, I guess, the single tour, which will be, which was in Europe, and basically we did a bunch of sort of a lot of other festivals we sort of haven't done before, a lot of new festivals and things like that. So we've sort of been just ramping things up, and then we're going to be starting this first North American tour in a few days now. And once again, it's all sort of ramping up for what is more to come. We're going to be touring also next year as well.
Okay.
But yeah, we're just going to be just on the road pretty much endlessly.
Okay. Any plans to get back to Australia on this current leg, or?
Yeah, we're heading back in January. We've got a little tour booked. Okay,
great. How has the response been from the fans to the new music?
They've been loving it. When Joel's been announcing the title track, Breaking Out of Hell, he just says, this is breaking out of, and they finish the sentence. And then when we've been playing, they've been singing all the words already to those tracks. We haven't started Rivalry yet, because that only just came out a few days ago. But from what we're from the first track, it seems that people are jumping on the songs pretty quickly and then getting involved. And then I guess when the album comes out, we'll have to definitely be playing quite a few off that one, especially It's All for Rock and Roll.
Right. Now, I know the title track is one that sticks in your head because it's got my ear. It's an earworm now, and I find myself humming that along throughout the day.
Yeah, that's cool.
Now, of course, your brother's in the band with you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it can be difficult when you're working with family and close friends too. So how does that relationship work with you and the band? Do you have to kind of separate the family from the band And is it more difficult or is it easier?
No, it's easier. It's sort of cut out the crap kind of vibe. You know, we can have a fight and then we can be working on something quick, pretty much instantly. It's not like people have bruised egos or anything like that. You know, and Joel and I have had the same goal since we started playing together, 19 years ago when we were 11 years of age. This is what we've always wanted to do, and so it's one of those things. We'll never allow our bickering or anything like that to affect this, which is like rock and roll, which is Airbourne.
Great. Now, as a drummer, who is the one musician who you would say has probably had the biggest influence on your playing style over the years?
I mean, I'll probably have to say, obviously, Phil Rudd.
Okay.
Just because of to be able to sit back on the 4/4 beat and play it so perfectly, it is tricky. I mean, a lot of people, you know, you find a lot of drummers start practicing, you know, drum rolls or rudiments and stuff like that, which is great and fantastic. But one thing I think is really extremely important is to be able to get in the pocket as a drummer and not move from it, and that does take experience and time. And so that was one thing that stuck out from Phil Rudd to me.
Okay, super. Now, being that you're from Australia, I have to ask you, I'm from the States, so I'm not familiar with Australian beer at all, so the only one that I can mention is Foster's, but what would your recommendation be on that?
Well, funnily enough, Foster's is actually very difficult to find in Australia.
Okay.
I believe that literally has come down to amazing marketing in the States, and I guess in the UK as well. It's all over the UK, but it's actually, you have to go to, like, you know, a liquor warehouse, where you know, a big sort of warehouse, and you'll find it in the back corner.
Okay.
But you'll rarely find it at a barbecue or at someone's house, and you'll never see somebody drinking it in a pub. Basically, down in Victoria, where we're from, the same company makes Carlton Draft, which is pretty much in every pub, and one that some people would have heard of is VB, Victoria Bitter, which we drink a lot of ourselves. But yeah.
That's awesome. That's funny. I can find Foster's right down the street here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I'm not surprised.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. Everybody's got to check out the new record, Breaking Out of Hell. Like I said, it sticks in your ear. It's just hard rock and roll the way it was meant to be played, and it's just a great time. And I think everybody who gives it a listen is going to love it as much as I did.
Thank you. That's very kind of you, and thank you for having me.